And we're
Scoot
live.
over so you're centered better.
What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome to, I guess, the first edition of, we'll just call it
P.Rod Live. We called it P.Rod Live.
All right, we'll call it P.Rod Live.
We got to come up with something
for now.
better.
Until we come up better, working title is P.Rod Live.
Temporarily.
Yeah. So I had this idea a little while back where I wanted to interview some of my favorite skaters growing up and just ask them like all the questions I would have wanted to ask them when I was like a young skate rat, not in the game yet. So now that I've been fortunate enough to have, to know a lot of my favorite skaters in person, and I can actually ask them to do that, and hopefully they say, yes, I can do that. So welcome everybody.
I said yes.
And of course, my first guest would be none other than Mr. Eric Koston, as you know.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah. So bear with us.
Yeah, it's our first time doing a talk show here, but I'm just the guest, you know.
It's my first time.
He's the host.
Asking someone questions, so I'll be your host, and bear with me because I have no idea how to be a host. So now that that's the summary.
I just saw some profanity. We are going to try to follow these comments and then and move along. But
so we can
we'll let him
right
do that.
Right there, huh?
But if you guys are mean to me, I'm going to ignore your comments. And it hurts. It hurts a lot, but I will ignore them and act like it doesn't hurt.
All right. So let's start off with a couple get to know Eric Koston questions. And by the way, good interviewers usually have questions ready. I don't have much ready, so I'm just going to try and think of something. But let's start with something basic. What's your favorite color, Eric?
My favorite color? You know, it's funny. It changes. It used to be blue. Like when I was younger, blue was always my go-to color. But now, I feel like colors. I wouldn't say blue is my favorite color anymore. Not always. There's certain shades of blue, but I go in waves. Now, like coloring up shoes and stuff like that, I'll get sick of certain colors because I see it so much, and then I start to shift my opinion towards this other color because I like that more because I don't see it as much. I don't know, things like that. So it's funny. I don't really have a full solid opinion on color. Like it changes. Like I get sick of it. Answer. You know, especially after coloring shoes for.
Speaking of shoes, what's your favorite shoe you've ever had?
My favorite shoe, what shoe that I ever had of mine?
Yeah, of your shoes.
Ooh. That's a tough one. My favorite shoe would be, I guess I'd have to, if I had to go with something, probably for the overall story behind it would be my first shoe, the Koston one from S would be, because that was the first time I really learned not only about the process, but I designed the shoe. I drew the shoe on paper. You know, drew it and then submitted it and then worked on the materials and everything. Kind of went through every step of the way, but I kind of learned the process, and that was the first time.
So did you sit there and just from scratch just draw whatever came to your mind, or did you already have certain influences that you?
Yeah, I kind of used bits and pieces of shoes that I just collected because I'd already had a sneaker collection. So I made this. It was kind of a Frankenstein of a bunch of different shoes to make that shoe. I just kind of cobbled it together, but as I drew it, I was like, yeah, I want the side of this shoe like this, but then I want the sole from this shoe, and then the mesh from that shoe, and then so on. I just kind of, and then I sort of drew everything to fit into place.
Well, it turned out good. I don't know anybody at that time who didn't have a pair, so must have been all right.
I bet you all these people on YouTube probably have never even seen that shoe before. It's so far back. It came out in 1996.
Damn. How old are you in 96?
I don't know. It's younger. How old was I in 96?
19 years ago.
I was,
what, 20?
No. Yeah, like 20. Something like, dude, like 20.
Okay.
Something around there. Yeah, I forgot.
I
forgot how old I am now.
Good. We should never remember that. You're only as old as you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Did they even have shoe designers back then at S, or was it just like, hey, you're getting a shoe, so just give us some?
No, they had a shoe designer, but yeah, it was when it started to work, but it was working with the shoe designer. But yes, they did. But I mean, I swear they might have. I think then it might have even done shoes for like America, Sheep when they were around, stuff like that.
Oh, Sheep was Soltec?
Yeah. Do you remember that, dude?
When I started skating, Sheep was already on the sales rack.
That's so crazy.
Did anyone ever have a shoe for Sheep? A shoe for Sheep?
I don't think anyone. No. Maybe no. I don't think they did. No, I don't think anybody did. I was thinking Templeton, but no, I don't think he had a shoe. I don't think anyone had a pro shoe.
All right.
Where are the questions?
Here's something. Yeah. Julian, what do we just pick any of these questions, or are you gonna feed us some? You can talk. The kids want to hear your voice.
Yeah, there's questions right here.
The ones on the top right?
Far right.
On the top right, yeah.
Okay.
Tupac.
Oh.
What are your
Shout out that user
from Geo? What are your
Geo.
favorite Tupac songs, both of you?
You first or me first?
Go ahead, you, if you're ready.
Okay.
Top. I'm trying to think of one right now.
The one that pops up in my head right now is "You Can't See Me," or "Can't See Me." All Eyes on Me. I think it's the first song on the second disc. "Dear Mama's" a good one. There's too many. The Changes is rad. "Hit 'Em Up," of course. California Love.
I was gonna say California Love because that was like when he got out of jail. That was a sort of like his sort of second chance.
Hey, didn't you used to live in an apartment building
No, I
that he lived in?
didn't. Gavin lived. So like Tim Gavin, I used to live. My roommate's a Tim Gavin. And then he ended up moving out of the apartment that we shared together because he moved in with his girlfriend at the time, but up the block from in a different building, but like up the block. And that's when Tupac got out of jail. And Tupac moved in to the building that Gavin lived in and had the same parking spot next to like
to
Gavin's spot. I was like, dude, do not door ding. So he had like,
Yeah.
as soon as he got out, it was like in his parking spot, there's 2 spaces. It was an underground garage. And he had like a current, like whatever the newest Lexus sedan was. And like a powder blue 6'4" Impala convertible, Dayton's.
Some G shit.
Yeah, just straight. Like I was like, dude, you do not door ding Tupac. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. That was the joke. Like, do not door ding his fucking. My bad. Do not door ding his Impala.
Oh, we're not allowed to say bad words?
What's up? Let's
We're not
try
allowed
not
to say-
to. The kids, man.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to be
I
excessive.
do that to my own kids, though.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Anyways, so then, yeah, I did see him one time just hanging out in front of the apartment. But yeah, that was right when he got out. And so that's when that California Love time, and probably when he was shooting all that. So
Just firing away.
yeah,
All right, let's see what else we got.
this one's to you.
Shout out Gustavo.
Just shout out Gustavo Mendez.
Gustavo, what's good?
Hello from Brazil. Hello, Brazil. What up?
All right, come on, guys, give us questions, not just shout out requests.
No, here's nah.
I got one for you. So, like the stories I hear, because I came skating around '96, and you were already Koston, you know. Like no one ever remembers like the Koston trajectory. It was just already you're on the scene and you're already Koston. From like the people I heard it, like I remember talking to Barra long ago, and he was saying like I never knew Eric when he was just a beginner skater. He was already great. Like, what was your beginning eras like? Your like first learning eras? What was your like local spot where you learned your tricks, or like the skate? You know, your favorite skater back then, or whatnot?
My local spots, like I grew up in San Bernardino, if anyone's familiar with that. It's in California. It's in the Inland Empire of Southern California. Where I started skating like in front of my house, my driveway, curb cuts. Even there was like a curb just up the street in front of, it was actually on the street I I lived on, which could be, you know, cars could go fast, but not too fast. But I would skate like, I remember like even before wax, but I would like start like breaking in a curb that wasn't even painted. So like I took an old rail, and like rubbed it on it, and then did a bunch of grinds, 50/50s over and over until it could like grind good. And I remember learning like lip slides and stuff like that. But it's seriously like there, but like also I started skating with like older kids too, and like a friend of mine had like a wall like a jump ramp to a wall ride at his house. So I feel like I learned a lot of stuff from that jump ramp. Not only that thing, we'd pull it out in the street and launch airs, but then wall riding and all that stuff. But that was like, I was a little dude.
So like who
11,
was the
12.
dude when you guys were like, who was your guy that you looked up to?
Like the local hero?
Not even local, just like your
I mean, Mark
skater.
Gonzalez is my first dude, the Gons. My brother, my older brother, he gave me like a used Mark Gonzalez board, and that was my first board. Like he cobbled together like mismatched trucks, like a tracker and an Indy, and like the wheels were mismatched and all this stuff he got from friends, and like put together a setup for me. And that's rad.
Was your older brother good?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was good. Like he was like really good at ollieing pretty high. Like he could ollie over things, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, he had pop.
It's crazy.
Back
I always
when, like,
noticed
there was no noses and stuff. You know, he could
the
pop.
younger brothers tend to like outshine the older brothers when I see the brother skateboarder dynamic.
I don't know. Well, they're the ones who show the way that you can do. That's the thing.
Competitive.
Probably. Well, they're the ones that open the doors too.
All right. How do you see skateboarding in 20 years? That is from, wait, go back. Hold on. That is
Just
from
jump straight to this.
Ancient Dentist.
Ancient Dentist.
Yeah, sorry.
How do I
my-
see
My
skateboarding in
interview
20 years?
style is not very refined, so sorry.
20 years. Man. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be gnarly. It's gonna be really dangerous. It's gonna be super technical and super dangerous. I feel like every time it's like, oh, that rail is the gnarliest thing I've seen, and then somebody ends up nose grinding one that's longer, or like flies down a set of stairs.
It's gonna be like tray flip nose grind 20s.
That's big. Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's just gonna get more technical and more gnarly, because every time you say like, dude, there's no way someone's gonna do something gnarlier than that. The fact is that someone did that, something that was that gnarly to me at that time, or something that was so groundbreaking. The fact that somebody else younger sees that that's even possible, then they're gonna know that it can be pushed a little bit further. I feel like that's the evolution. When you think it's done, it just keeps going.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Scroll down a little more.
Favorite wheel size? I missed that one.
Yeah, what is your favorite wheel size?
What was that? Oh, go
You
up a little
probably
bit,
went
go up a
through
little
every
bit.
size over the years.
That's from Cole's Zorb. My favorite wheel size? My favorite wheel size? I mean, 51.
That's what I read.
That's what I ride. Sometimes I'll end up on a 52 where I feel like I need something, or maybe a rail or grinding. I don't know. But if I go too much higher, it kind of throws off my pop. Even though dude, skating is a game of millimeters, but sometimes it does. It throws everything off, so you have to make little adjustments. So
back in the early 90s, were you on like 40s?
Dude, the smallest wheel I went to is 36 millimeter.
Ooh, that's like barely bigger than your bearing.
Bearing covers, dude.
How'd you roll anywhere?
We didn't. See how slow it skated? It skated really slow.
That's funny.
No one went fast.
What do you think of Brazilian skaters? Thiago Lemos, he's coming now. He's sick. Oh, trust me, I know that.
Yeah, we know that. No, he's gnarly, man. I mean, this is from, shout out Guilherme Roberto.
Sorry, I keep forgetting to say the name.
So, dude, shoot. Brazilian skaters have always been gnarly. This is like, I always wonder what, like, I wish I grew up there, dude. I wish I was born there, dude.
Me too.
The way those dudes skate. They're insane, dude.
Tiago Lemos, though,
Yeah,
speaking of him,
Tiago's
he's
gnarly.
one of the gnarliest skaters I've ever seen. I spent a lot of time with him this summer, going on some trips with him. It's unbelievable the stuff he does, like, daily. Unbelievable.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know who Tiago Lemos is,
Don't know. Now you know.
you'll find out.
Yeah. Let's see here. What is the whole Frosty thing from James Jenkins?
James Jenkinson.
Jenkins.
Frosty became a nick. It came from the nickname Froston, which is obviously from my last name Koston. So Froston was born in Vancouver one night. He's an alter ego of mine that happens to
It's a party name?
It's a party name. So it gets slightly intoxicated. No, it was after a big. Actually, it was a Laker playoff win. We won a playoff series against Sacramento Kings, and it got really excited. This was years and years ago, and then it was like Scott Johnston and even Ty. I think they were both there, and I forget one of them. They were like, "Dude, you were frosting last night," or something like that. I was like, "What? What do you know?" That it just turned that my nickname, like, instead of Koston, they started calling me Frostin. I don't even know why. Something was made up, and then it evolved into Frost and Frosty. And
That was like the harsh barge era, huh? That kind of time frame of zones.
Yeah. So probably like 2000-ish.
Yeah. Frosty. All right. Let's see here.
This side too?
Yeah, I
Are
just
these the
started
same?
realizing we can pick
your
questions from this side too.
Pick either or.
I saw one that was interesting. Let's see here. Sorry for the awkward pause. Dude, there was one I saw. Hey, guys.
That one?
So I got one. When you started skating, did you even think of, like, wow, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, like this, like turning into a profession, or was it just too early when you started to even think that far ahead?
It was too early to think that when I started skating, like, I didn't think, I'd be going pro. I did progress, and then I started to, get better, and then wanted to start to compete, in like local contests and stuff like that, and did well. And then there's local contest Castle. You might have even gone to any of those. It's called California Amateur Skateboard League. And I kind of started in that in like lower divisions because of it's like age and kind of based on your skill level. There was all, 12 and under or 12 and over, 12A, 12B, 12C, whatever like that.
Sponsored factory.
Yeah, all different types of. So the playing field was pretty level within your bracket of kids, and started to do well in those. And it was like, oh wow, like that'd be really so sick if I could just be sponsored, like you get free stuff. And that was kind of like the only thing you thought. But pro didn't really. It still seemed like super was just like not gonna. I don't know, so far away. And it kind of happened, after it was the one thing I actually did realize. I remember I was 16 and I went to skate camp called Lake Owen, which is like a sister camp of Woodward at the time. It's no longer is, but was then. I went there as a counselor for the whole summer, and I was like teaching kids to skate and all that. And actually, I was like so stoked. I got put up in a place, basically room and board covered, and then I actually got paid a little bit for that. And I was like, what, dude? I got paid. That was the first time I got paid for skating.
Guest.
Huh?
So you were like the guest?
No, I was actually a counselor. Like I went as a counselor. Like I would have to tell some kids to go to bed and stuff like that, but also like teach them how to skate, drop in on ramps, like certain whatever tricks they wanted to ask me, any advice, I would just, I'd just be there to.
Have you had dudes come up to you over the years like, hey, you were my counselor? Like,
Dude, Clint Peterson was a camper.
no way.
Yeah, Clint Peterson was there. Steve Nesser was
No
also
way.
there.
That's right.
Because it was in Wisconsin, and they were not too far away in Minneapolis. Minneapolis was close by.
That's sick. So you must have been a good counselor. You just named 2 pros.
Those
Lesson
remember
is,
the-
if Eric Koston's your camp counselor, you're definitely going pro. For sure.
No guarantees, dude. No guarantees. Disclaimer.
All right. Let's see here. I thought I had one.
Shout out.
Portugal and France wants shout out.
Yeah, it's Portugal. Shout out to Portugal,
Portugal,
and
yeah.
France. That's old
Something Paf.
Paf and Francisco.
Keep scrolling down.
This one's for you.
What's up with some Slam City Jam stories? Rory White. He must be a little older.
Yeah, that's an. He's showing his age. Slam City Jam. Did you ever even go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, towards
I went to
You did,
to a
right?
couple, yeah.
You went to
2000
kicked it
to
at
like 2005.
Should we go into some of those?
I mean,
There's
are
some
those
good.
appropriate.
Well, there's some. Yeah, it was fun times, but guys, one of the
Got
ones that were
wild.
it would get a little wild there, and the guys would want to go to the clubs, and because it is Canada, the drinking age was 19. So everyone can go to clubs and stuff at 19. So all the skaters would go. Remember one night it was really chaotic, and actually it was a long line,
I have
and
a
the
feeling
bouncers
I already know what you're
bouncers
talking
are
about.
really getting like agitated with all the skaters complaining about waiting in line. And I was actually I was far back, but I was just like, eventually we're gonna get in. Like, who cares? Whatever. Like, some dudes were mouthing off towards the front, and I don't remember who they were, but suddenly I was kind of deep back in this line, and just out the front door, just tons of gigantic bouncers. These all look like linebackers were just funneling out and just beating up dudes left and right. And it was like, just jaw dropping, like, just looked chaotic, just because like guys are just getting like thrown into the, thrown onto cars, and people getting just punched, drilled, people running, everyone was scattering, like, it was scary because these bouncers were so like, they were huge, these
Just
huge
hyped to have a
dudes.
sparring.
And I remember seeing Bill Weiss. He was like close to me, and one of the bouncers picked him up he looked like, because he was so thin, he looked like he picked up like a carrot with the stalk, the greens that are on the top of it.
Mhm.
And it looked like he picked him up and just whipped him. And he whipped him onto this car, like his full body. And if you'd ever asked Bill Weiss about that, he just
Was he
dipped him onto
naked
the
or
car.
clothed?
No, he had his clothes, and he picked him up. And Bill's like about 6'3" or 6'4", but he was thin, very thin. And he just dipped him like a rag doll onto a car. And I was just like, I'm out of here. And I was just trying to I remember about to before I could even turn around to go, I started feeling punches to the back of my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get knocked out.
So they were just beating dudes up.
I didn't even know who
whoever's
was behind
standing
me.
there is
Someone was
beating you up.
behind me, punching me in the back of my head. And so then I kind of ducked my head, and I just felt him in my back. And I was like, I can't turn around, because if I turn around, he's gonna knock me out. And I was just I kind of just as like a turtle, but ran as fast as I could, kind of diagonally away, so you could only
Yeah.
And eventually I stopped feeling punches hitting me, and I was like, I'm out of here. It was just chaos. But
That's
it was
insane.
whoever mouthed off in the front of that line, you're bad, dude. Although the bouncers they were not very tolerant to short fuse
Yeah,
on
it
those
sounded
guys.
like they were
because
just
then it used to
hyped.
happen every year, and I remember I just stopped going. I would never go to the big hot spot because of that. The bouncers were just waiting to
They already knew what was coming.
just pound skaters every year. Just
like the La Quinta at Tampa, they already know we're coming to town.
Yeah.
They're just not having it
yeah.
anymore.
So it was fun, but I don't like getting just beat up by somebody I don't know who's beating me up. Or I don't just like getting beat up, period. Who
Yeah.
does? Who wants to get punched in the back of the head for no
Yeah,
reason?
I
I
don't know
don't.
that that's a fun thing.
It was funny. At least I didn't get knocked out, but I I thought it was kind of funny when I was like, when I got out of there safe, I was laughing, but I was like, dude, someone was punching me. And I was like, I don't like this at all.
All right. Here's one from Marcus Dyer. Did you ever get your $100 back? And yeah, right.
That question. I did get my money back.
That's rad.
I ended up finding the wallet.
That was
So
Slam
the wallet-
City, yeah?
No, it was actually, no, it wasn't Slam City. I
Oh,
was just
no?
up there filming that was during Yeah Right, but filming in Vancouver with McCrank.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, we had a rental van. The guy smashed the window. I had my wallet in the glove compartment. He'd like taken the money out and just threw it in the back. I realized later it was the wallet too. I was like, where's the wallet? You know, I want my credit cards. I don't want to have to cancel my credit card.
Yeah.
He'd thrown it just on the floor in the back seat behind the
Just wanted the
front
cash.
seat. Yeah, and he took the cash, but I did get the cash back.
Rad.
Yeah, the cops came.
That's right.
Long story. Turns out it turns out he was busted or sort of accused of doing the same thing, like smashing, grabbing in cars in downtown Vancouver. They couldn't pin it to him, so the cops who did try to bust him, they couldn't actually hold him to it. So of course, I found out later from the other cops that came to actually arrest him because we held him. I didn't smash him or anything. The cops told me that, yeah, they they arrested the dude, or they couldn't arrest the dude in downtown because he was accused of that, but they couldn't pin it to him. So they took him out to the suburbs where that skate park was, that Hastings skate park, and dropped him off by the park. And so he immediately, like, they dropped him off immediately. He broke into 3 cars right
Of
dead in
course. Yeah.
there, right away. Like,
Definitely. some
great
type of
solution,
addict.
officers. Just dump them in the suburbs. They'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. There was a funny one I saw. I don't even know if we can really properly answer it, but
which one on the
it was like, I think his name was Nicholas or something. He said something about, what do you think about fat skaters trying to become big in skateboarding? I don't know that there's a real answer about that, but I just thought it was an odd question.
I wish there was more fat skaters in skateboarding.
Trying to be big in skateboarding, was that a pun?
I don't know, maybe. But no matter what your shape, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah, man, just enjoy it for sure. No matter who you are, it's a good way to get back in shape. And I never knew this guy, but I noticed he was always a little more heavy set. Ben Sanchez was rad in Mouse. He was rad.
His nickname was Burger.
Yeah?
Burger Benny, yeah.
Well, there you
Burger.
go. And he skated fast as hell.
Mhm.
Yeah, Pop, he was dope. That guy on here. Hopefully he doesn't get mad if he saw that.
For you,
Oh, what about that one?
when you come to Italy, which one? Oh, Nathaniel De La Cruz. How did you feel when you were in the Derek Jeter commercial? I was pretty shocked actually that they asked me to do that. I was honored, that was because it was for, it was basically like a tribute to him and his career. It was a pretty awesome commercial. Really, the director was pretty insane, really good. The whole thing turned out great. I was very honored to be a part of that and part of like a tribute to his pretty insane career. Not many baseball players
career,
can put up those numbers like he did.
That's right. Let's see here. I mean, I guess if I were a young kid, I would like to ask this question. He's probably not gonna like the answer. Deb CRs, no. How long does a deck last you?
Yeah.
When I was looking, those are the type of questions I would have wanted to ask too.
Mhm.
The truth is, we're very spoiled. It can be one day, it can be 3 days, but I don't know about you, Eric, but for myself, my board never sees a week.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The board I'm riding is probably, I've been getting lazier about setting up boards, so I've been riding them probably like about a week, maybe sometimes a little longer, and they're just like, they're kind of gross and beat down, and But I just get tired of like, I don't want to set up a new one. So, you know, I'll get to a spot and I don't want to sit around and put a new board together. I just want to skate. So,
Right.
So I've been riding them kind of like about a week lately. And that's kind of a long time.
Yeah, that's super long.
That is a long time because yeah, we are spoiled. We get used to a new board and like the pop of it and all that. But I get lazy. But yeah, sometimes one day, like you skate a spot that's rough or try a trick that ships your board up and eventually, or the tail gets shredded up and the pop's gone, it's over with.
Done deal. Did you ever used to, when you were super young, like to prolong your board, like sand down the sides, clean the grip tape off, like get all like super like mechanic with your board?
I did things like that, and I remember I used to take like, even when the tail was starting to get scraped down, I'd take wood glue. My dad was a contractor and he had a garage full of everything and he had this wood glue, and I would just take wood glue and like just smear it on the tail.
Add the tail?
Add a little tail, and I would just, because it didn't matter. I didn't like have like pop or anything, or just did whatever to make the board last forever. But I was just
got to. Yeah, I used to take those metal files and go around the board and like at the time I guess.
Oh, to make it like the edges all fresh.
Yeah, but my board would be shrinking.
Yeah.
But like I would file it down and I'd be like, yeah, it gets more pop because it gets thicker, you know. Yeah. Shave it down and you don't realize your board's this long.
Turns into a mini.
Yeah.
Full size, now it's this big.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, that's a good one. Pamper the Madman. Do you remember your first deck?
I talked about that. Mark Gonzalez. It was a used Mark Gonzalez.
Oh, your brother gave it to you. Yeah, sorry.
That was my first deck.
How about your first brand new deck straight off the shop?
Dude, I went hand-me-downs for so long, and actually dude, the first brand new one. It was Christmas. It was another Gons, but it was it was like the one after that one I rode. There's a Mark Gonzalez board with kind of his face is this sort of pop art looking one. Very 80s looking. Then what was the graphic was one had like the mermaid. He actually drew it. It was like his artwork. It's like a mermaid and some other characters and fish with the big eyes, and I don't remember if it had a name specifically, but it was another Gons. That was like the first new one.
Fred, do you collect your boards?
Not all of them.
No. You got a nice stash?
I have some, yeah. Some that, things I wanted. I feel like, there's certain artwork or artists that have done them. I'll keep them. And then ones that are just like sometimes series and stuff that just kind of just come and go.
Mean some.
What about your first board?
My first board that I rode?
Yeah, first deck.
It was just a Powell Blank, Venture Trucks, Rat Bones wheels, some just generic bearings. And then for some reason I went from a normal size board. My next board was a mini 16 skateboards. I don't know why I did that.
Three more questions.
All right, guys. The powers
We'll run out of questions. We
behind the computer.
Answer enough of their questions.
I know.
We can go longer if you guys want.
It's on Eric. All right, guys. We got 3 more. Let's make them good.
Which WWE wrestler had a big impact on your skating career?
Me? I'll tell you who.
That's from OCSVCSV.
Dude,
Yeah.
when I was coming up, just started skating, I was a huge WWE fan, but it was back when it was WWF, during the change. Stone Cold was my man. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I used to order every SummerSlam. I remember the one SummerSlam when he beat up The Undertaker and Kane. He's cracking beers open after he whips their ass. He was my hero at that time.
There you go.
Yeah, Stone Cold. I used to rock the T-shirts to school, like Austin 316. Like, it was rad.
You still got one of those?
No, I wish. I should.
Yeah, I know. You can still find. I'm sure you can.
I have an idea. Don't want to say it.
That's
live.
what the internet's for. Once we're done with this, we can go search eBay.
Yeah. Do you have a video part of yours that like is like for you your like your most special era, like a video part that you just feel, I don't know. Well, this is a great one. I watched this one last night actually.
A favorite of mine, of
Yeah,
my own.
you're like not necessarily of like yo I killed it the hardest, or whatever. Like just like a certain like when you watch it, those memories, the nostalgia of era
of times and where
like,
you went.
wow, that was great. Yeah.
I would say, if I think about the times and places and people and what we're doing, and maybe Mouse.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mouse. Yeah, I would say Mouse. That video was just because of that time. It was still 90s, but it was also transitioning into like, it was shifting from the earlier 90s into that mid to later-ish era where like there was like a pretty big shift in skateboarding too. It was like from like the early 90s is technical but not super fast, and then everything kind of actually like
started refining, huh?
Yeah, refining and getting sort of bigger, faster. Sort of there was like a shift, So also, it's pretty cool to like it actually happened kind of during that time. It was kind of a memorable time. Also, good friends, skating with Guy.
Yeah.
Kanan, Sheffy.
Yeah, back
Mike
then,
Carroll.
like just the original girl squad you got, came across like for me being just a fan of those. It's so like close knit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody wanted to be part of that.
Oh yeah, like lived with each other pretty much, more or less.
Sick, dude. Really cool. How about that when girls started, when they first approached you or whatnot? Like, how did all that go down? From what were you on 101 right before that?
Yeah. Skating on 101, skating for 101, and then because that was all. I mean, we were all skating together, but it was Rick Howard who talked to. It was myself and Guy, and we were skating this spot over at that. It's like that marble 3-stair spot that Robinson's May in Beverly Hills.
on Wilshire.
On Wilshire, yeah, like Wilshire and pretty much where Santa Monica meets up. We were skating there, and then after we were done, we were just hanging out and like talking, and he brought it up. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna start another company. We're leaving. Like these dudes are leaving. Told me who, and like starting. It's called Girl. Like, do you want to ride for it?" For both of us. And
So he was already knee deep in the plans.
A few like him and Mike Carroll and Spike was involved then early, and like they'd already talked to Sheffy too at the time, because those dudes were all Plan B. Because we all skated together too because of Plan B, Blind.
It was all World, right?
101 and World. It was all under one building, so we all same distribution, so we all hung out a lot. So that's when he asked us, and we were like, "Well, that's kind of crazy." Like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah,
that's sick. It sounds like
that's tight. Were you nervous when you had to quit 101?
Yeah, I was like nervous.
That's the worst.
And Nodis was like we were actually up in. It was in San Francisco, and there was that contest, Back to the City contest that they had in the fountain in front of the City Hall or whatever that building is, Capitol Building. And I didn't go up there with Nodis, but he was there. And then when I walked up to him, because I was walking up to him to tell him I was going to quit, he just looked at me and was like, "Are you leaving too?" And he just kind of with a smirk on his face, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm leaving." Just like hanging my head.
It's the worst feeling is quitting a company.
It was this whole weird thing. It's like the Rocco stuff, and we were kind of like, we kind of didn't trust him, but we were also brats, and also just young shit and growing pains, but
still goes on the same way.
Yeah.
Right. All right, guys.
Last one, dude.
Question.
For him, dude.
Hopefully you got. Wait, your question for you. I'm the interviewer.
I know.
All right. Let's see here. Whoa, 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 whoa! Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Okay. I'm trying to hone in on one here right when I start reading this. The screen passes
Hands
by.
off. Hands off the mouse. Scroll.
These ones have been the same ones the whole time.
Is there anything
Let's
down
go down,
further?
yeah. What's your golf game like right now? What are you shooting?
That's the last one we're gonna go. Golf
just
game's been pretty minimal actually. Yeah, I've been playing like maybe once every 2 months or a month and a half.
Oh, that long?
That's bad.
In between? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you were gonna say once a week or.
No, I
2 weeks.
used to play once a week, and that was back in the day, and I swear that was a long time ago when I played once a week, and that was probably the lowest I had was like shooting. I would shoot like in the 70s or low 80s. It's like I had actually a handicap. I had like kept it SCGA handicap index, the whole thing, posted scores, but
Damn.
and the lowest it got was a 5.9. That was my handicap.
You think later on in life you're gonna go for a
Dude,
senior tour? Or anything?
Dude, it's way too late.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's so hard. It's such a hard game. It's funny. People don't understand. Like, I think a lot of skaters, and they see me like post stuff like golfing and this and that, they probably hate it. And I remember I was like, dude, why would you want to watch? I remember golf was so boring to me on TV, and then when I started playing, I got so hooked on it, and I love watching it. And it's funny, but it's like it's technical. It's like skating. It's a mental game. It's like you got to be like you got to be really focused if you're going to try to hit a good shot. You got to be focused when you're trying to land a trick that you're kind of scared of or whatever. And you're always trying to battle yourself, like trying to, you like, when you're trying to trick forever, like, oh, I'm going to make this trick. Like, I don't care what like, so when you go out and shoot, you're trying to shoot your lowest score. So you're out there grinding, trying to like keep your score down. Because you're like, I'm gonna beat my last lowest score, and it's like the endless pursuit that you might never perfect. You'll never perfect it, and you're gonna be trying forever.
Nice. All right. Well, do you want to end on that one, or do you want to end on another one? How you want to do it?
There's one last one on there.
Oh. This one?
When you highlighted blue, is that you?
That's what he's saying.
Oh, okay, okay. What was you last trip together? I don't know if that's by. I feel like it had been somewhere recent, right? Does San Diego count?
Yeah, Diego. We just went to San Diego. That kind of doesn't count. What's a good like? I did. It's been a little bit.
Has it?
Kind of like a solid trip, because like
the Latin America tour.
I didn't get to go on that.
one,
No,
huh?
I had to film. Because we're kind of on different projects. Let's see, it doesn't really. I mean, we see each other in LA more than on the road.
It wasn't in Barcelona when we got to go to
Maybe
the soccer field. Remember?
Maybe the X Games. That was the last trip, probably.
I guess that wasn't
Barcelona.
a trip that we went on, but we got to do some things together there.
I mean, technically we went on it. We did have probably different flights. I stayed longer to try to skate and film. But that was a trip together. But it's been like tours we haven't done. You remember that Euro tour? Like, Bird is the word.
Yeah, Bird is the
bus.
word. That was 5 years ago. That was 2010, man. That was a rad trip.
Yeah,
that was super rad.
That was fun.
Dancing all night.
I know. I wanted to go on the that Pan American tour.
That was a great tour.
You guys
we were living it up. I remember my first tour with you to England. England S tour. I remember that. That was rad. We did some skating. I remember you jetted out a day or two early and just changed your flight. And I remember I was mind blown like that. Like, oh, you can do that? You can just change your flight and you can just go. And then got me on a bad habit afterward. I just wouldn't go in
I
there.
was bad,
wouldn't sign
bad
up.
influence there. Was that the one that was super harsh? We drove all over England.
I mean, my recollection, it might be different from yours because that was like my first S trip. So for me, it was just like, this is rad. I'm driving in a van with Koston. We're going everywhere.
Yeah.
I get to hang out with him for 10 hours in a van. You're probably just like, fuck.
Was it the one where we flew because they forgot the time change on the date and for the first demo, and it was supposed to be the next day, and we flew straight to London and had to drive 6 hours straight into a demo from an 11-hour flight?
I think so.
It was that one, right?
I think so. But I was just along for the ride, so it didn't really chalk up as a harsh.
Did we drive? We drove all over.
Yeah, we
England,
drove a
right?
bunch over England.
Yeah, that was that one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
McCrank.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Arto showed up. No, that was Germany. Yeah.
Was Mikey?
It was just demos. No, this was before Mikey got on. Yeah, but yeah.
That was a doozy. That was fun. I mean, I think I was pretty fried on that. That's how we started it off.
You were just tour mania back then.
We went straight, 11 hours to London, 6-hour drive to demo, like directly off a plane, car, demo. I was just like,
yeah.
Here we go.
And I was so scared of flying back then. I don't know how I made it through a flight that long without freaking out. It was crazy. Oh, you got one more. Okay. Oh, that's not a question. That's a direction.
Thanks, y'all. That is a...
All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming out, or thanks for joining us. Hope we answered some questions you may have had. And if you enjoyed it, hopefully you come back for the next one, which we haven't got lined up yet, but we'll work on that. And
you'll find out one way or another.
Yeah, you'll find. We'll let you know via social and all that. So thank you, guys. Eric, thank you, my man, for joining me in this experiment. Yeah. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right, guys.
Good night.
Much love. Oh.